Hey, mercy.
Recording in progress.
Percy, go ahead.
Hey, the coach, how you doing? Just now that you've had some time to sort of maybe digest the season, just your macro and sort of micro thoughts on what you guys went through this season, and what do you think this team needs to do to get a little bit further next year?
Yeah, if you look at, specific performances, we had new All-Star in Gabby, Sky and Nika playing at an All-Star level, all WNBA level, and the emergence of Dom, a lot of really, positive attributes. Erica Willer having one of her career seasons in numbers, Izzy coming along at the tail end of the season. A lot of good that happened. Our August wasn't so productive, but those are close games for us. Those are games that we, had to go through in order to have a pretty productive September. And think, if you think about, the progress of the players that we did have on our roster, a lot of first times for, our players. I think overall, to be able to be one possession away from being in Vegas is very positive, going through what we went through. Not having Lou and not having Jordan, huge pieces, and Nika, huge pieces to our roster. I think that's what we missed. Floor spacer, another athletic perimeter defender. I think just a bucket getter is another bucket getter is, important for this roster. And if you look at, the things that we were positive in, our defense was very strong. Rebounding was our deficiency all season, and that's an area of improvement. Offensively, we shot the three decently with the roster that we had and found some ways to be productive in transition, play out of our defense. So there are a lot of positives in that category, in those categories. And so I'll just kind of point to getting healthy and getting the roster that we intended to have, and adding some more depth in our 3-point shooting, and I'll go there.
Kevin, Maz, do either of you have questions?
Unusual off-season this year where very few players are signed. You don't even know for sure what the rules are going to be with the CBA. Does that change kind of the conversations that you're having players, today?
Yeah, it does. It's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of areas, and I haven't spoke to the players yet. Will after this, but it's just kind of decompressing the season. Understanding what all season looks like for every player, and wanting to be as communicative as possible. The reality of it is we don't know until we do know, and the waiting game is going to be tough. But until we are really clear with the path forward looks like, and that's when we can attack everything else.
You mentioned the rebounding. As a coach, when you relook at the film now, is there some sense of like there was a missing there in the messaging, or was it more the execution? Was a little bit of both?
Rebounding is something that to me isn't something that is you work on every day in practice. Boxing out in pursuit of basketball. A lot of that is to talk to you about the intangibles of it, like going to get basketballs. I thought that our rebounding in the last 10-15 improved. We trended positively, and it is having a lot of times early on in the season we're small in the backcourt. We're missing a Jordan and a Lou who can, at that particular position, can go get basketballs. It's not only relying on our post players to get it, but having a team effort and guard personnel to go get that as well. And yeah, it is sometimes more about a desire and a heart thing to go pursue basketball than a fundamental thing to box out, go pursue basketball. But at the end of the day, you think about, it's a part of the game that isn't constantly worked with on every single day. Like your shooting, like your X and O's, like your overall defense is part of your defense, and it's just a mentality.
Kevin took my question a little bit, but following up on that, just how and when do you even start free agency conversations, knowing that so much of your roster is unsigned and that a lot of players will not sign until there is a new CBA?
Yeah, I think it's about, the connectivity of the group and relying on, the foundation that we built. At the end of seasons, like, players are ours still. You're able to come and work out in the facility if you want and things like that. So just relying on our core group and our relationships to be communicative and understand what we want to continue to build here.
Coach, obviously, anytime you've got a rookie with the potential of Dom, there's a lot of excitement. People want to see it right away. You guys stuck to your plan with her, and obviously it looked like it paid off. Just how happy were you with the way you executed that, and making sure that you taught her the right way and brought her along the way that your guys' plan laid out?
Yeah, it was a process to it, and at the end of the day, Dom is on the floor in crucial moments because of how we were very intentional about the process. And the beginning of the season, you don't want to put a 19-year-old on the floor without a lot of reps, understanding the physicality of the game. You're going against vets and pros who know how to play against rookies and what it takes to just be very successful in this league. Dom was super committed to the process as well. She didn't waver from her belief in it, and I think that's part of why it was so productive as well. The buy-in that we received from her, the way that she went about being a professional, not only, I talk about this all the time through her film and on-court PD, but the way she connected with Ezzy, the way she watched NECA, the questions that she asked. She was the reason why the process was productive as well. And I think where we are now, you see what Dom can do, and there's so much more to tap into. But it was important that we were careful with how we handled her, and I think that she did amazing things. She was in big moments and stretches of the season, and the projection and the way it was like a train moving through the station, the buildup of it, and where it ended, I think it was very positive.
All right, we'll go to Zoom for a question. Jeff Brown, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, as these offensive production has dropped again this year and has dropped the past 2 years since she was an All-Star in 23, with the emergence of Dom Malonga, if NECA is also going to be back, where does that kind of leave Ezzy?
You're asking me future questions. I don't even know how to answer that because I don't know, how the roster is going to shape out. One thing I do know is we got to put respect on Ezzy's name. The year that she was an All-Star, we were not very good, but she held the fort defensively. The offensive production, the three-point shooting, and even at the tail end of the season, she had some really good moments for us. So I know that players go through ups and downs of, in a season and sometimes in their career, but Ezzy has been solid on the defensive end. She's been a solid teammate. She's been very impactful in this organization. And when we're talking about on-court production and X's and O's, I just want to make sure we understand who she's been and how she's been for us before we even jump to next roster or wherever we're talking about. So I'm not sure how to completely answer that without understanding the makeup of what we're going to have. But I just know that we would not be where we are without Ezzy.
All right, one last question. Cam, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You have a few players going off into play overseas. You have a few players going off to play overseas this season. Do you send them away with a message of what you want them or you think they should work on their game? And have you seen that when they go play overseas, that they come back with a different skill set, a better skill set oftentimes?
Yeah, it also depends on, where they're playing. And I think that is part of the messaging and making sure the overseas team and environment and situation is productive and conducive to getting better. A lot of times, situations overseas, not sure how the resources are, how your development is going to be. You play 1 or 2 games a week, and what do you do in between to fill in that time? And so a lot of time my conversation with young players is fill those gaps in with getting better, making sure your routine is set, whether it's, weight room, PD work, even the film work. It's easy to go one way or the other overseas. You can lock in and get better. Sometimes you can get complacent depending on your situation. It is player based. I'm not sure, like I said, how environments are going to be there, but the messaging is you're preparing for the journey. You're preparing to be a good player, not only in your overseas situation, but you're preparing for the W as well. So we have overseas, we got Unrivaled, we got AU, we have all of these leagues in the off season, and the importance of that is the development of skill set. And sometimes, you do see players come back with, confidence knowing that they played well overseas, and sometimes you see players come back and develop bad habits. And so, the messaging is to make sure you're locking into good habits, good routines, and staying locked in, focused to growth.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.